Welcome to the Growlers and Gremlins podcast, an alcoholic adventure in cryptids, paranormal, and the occult. Coming to you weekly from the heartland of America.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of Growlers and Gremlins. I'm your favorite host and theorist, John.
I'm Jason, the analyst.
And I'm Brian, the word I can't pronounce.
Our beer of the month this month is from Duclaw Brewing Company in Baltimore, Maryland. Sweet Baby Jesus, chocolate peanut butter porter. It's a classic porter with heavenly aromas and flavors of roasted malt, chocolate, and rich peanut butter with a smooth, dry finish. One sip and you'll exclaim the name, Sweet Baby Jesus. Let's try it.
Get that can opening ASMR going.
Yeah. ASMR. I wanted to do a full episode of ASMR.
No.
Jason said no.
Rightfully so.
Gotta say, start off, not friendly.
What's not friendly? I like it. It tastes like a stout.
Tastes like something.
Yeah,
I'll be nice to it. It's not the worst thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
I've had IPAs.
It's enjoyable. It's just, it's got a bit of an aftertaste I can't describe.
I can't taste peanut butter or chocolate. I will be completely honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys this before we get going. I had written down here in my phone after we introduced ourselves. I was going to say this, but then I forgot. But I just needed to let you guys know because I think you'll like it. After you all introduced yourselves, I was going to say, with our powers combined, we weigh over 800 pounds.
I weigh almost half that by myself.
You're supposed to let people wonder. Like, how do they weigh 800 pounds?
Yes, but do I look like I weigh 310?
Yes.
Fuck you.
Okay, so the topic this week is ancient aliens. Sort of. So I've been watching a lot of Ancient Aliens lately, like when I'm going to sleep at night. And everything they talk about, I just think, well, that doesn't sound right. And, you know, they talk about how during ancient civilization, there's all these things that they couldn't have built that, you know, not without modern technology. And they insist over and over, it's aliens. Aliens. So, you know, they talk about how they have these depictions in their artwork of spacesuits. And we identify that as looking like a spacesuit because the only spacesuits we've ever seen are our own spacesuits. We don't know what they were drawing. We don't know what alien spacesuits would look like. There's also, supposedly at various sites, there's evidence of nuclear weapons having been used, like crystallized rocks and things that,
the things that
were superheated, and yeah. And some of these sites are like radioactive and stuff. And so they're like, aliens, you know?
Yeah.
So I got thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if aliens were here and they did all of this work with ancient civilizations to really get them moving, where did they go? And why did they just stop? Why aren't they with us still and helping us all the time? You know, why would they just choose a time period and then quit coming back?
Because they hate us.
Well, I got thinking maybe they never left.
Oh my god. Interspecies.
Yeah.
Viewers.
Sort of. So this is why this is sort of about ancient aliens, because
Is this about ancient aliens fucking humans?
No,
Okay.
I had a little thought, and then that kind of blew up into a story that I want to tell you guys. And I got to tell you guys on recording, it's on the record, so that when Netflix steals it, everybody knows this was my idea.
Yes, John, you are that fuck.
What's that, Brian?
Don't worry. I forgot. I don't know how to use my mouth today.
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens, written by John and performed by Nicolas Cage.
No, I can't do that.
That would be
voice.
the fucking dream.
Okay, so, well, first I got to preface it with this. This idea comes with looking at block universe theory through the lens of eternalism. Okay? Block universe theory is essentially the idea that all of time exists at once. Past, present, and future are all existing simultaneously. So the future is completely predetermined because it already exists, and none of our actions affect the future. So, and I forgot what I was saying.
Block universe and the other thing.
Yeah, so Eternalism is the idea that since everything exists, the only thing that travels through time is human consciousness. So every us, the future us, the past us, they all exist simultaneously, but only the present is conscious.
Yeah.
And we only observe the present because we're only conscious of the present. So while the past and the future exist, they're not conscious, and we can only observe the present. If we can't observe the past and the future, we can't see them.
Yeah.
They're just not there, but they are there. They exist. We just can't. You know what I mean?
So you're okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm going to try to explain this to my brain. So the way I'm looking at it is, let's lower this to, instead of infinity, Monday to Sunday on a week.
Mm-hmm.
Your Monday body and your Tuesday body are two different bodies.
No, they're the same.
They're the
same you.
But your Monday body stays.
The Monday body does exactly what it did, but it is still doing it, but no longer conscious because it's already been done.
So your conscious body sets what that body will be doing for that Monday for the rest of existence. While your consciousness moves on to the Tuesday body, it performs its acts, and then moves on to the Wednesday body.
Yeah, and the importance of eternalism in this idea is that it separates it from the multiverse. In the multiverse look at it, all possibilities exist. Everything that could have happened exists somewhere in the universe. And all of the us's out there are all conscious. They're all separate, experiencing their own universes.
So you're talking about the many worlds theory, that anytime there's a conscious decision or action, it splits into two paths or more paths.
And
each possibility happens.
And that's the important difference here, because this is not that. Right. We're talking about eternalism. It's the counter to that. So let me tell you a story. Okay? Let's say 100 years in the future. Commander, give me a name.
Zavala.
No, give me a simple name.
Tom.
Joe Bob.
Commander Tom Joe Bob.
You dick.
Gets called into Houston. He's an astronaut. Commander. He's a big deal. He's been in space more than any of our astronauts. You know, he's a big guy. And we're currently at a time in the world, say 100 years from now, that we know that our end is near. Whatever the reason, our end is near. So we're looking for a way out, some kind of alternative, some way to keep humanity going. So they've been looking at some of our nearest Earth-like planets, and some of them are as close as like 5 light years away. But they know they only have one shot. They can only train so many people to be the first mission. Otherwise, they have to go through all of this, all of the infrastructure in order to send something that kind of distance. So they kind of have cold feet. They don't know which one to choose and when to go, but they have been developing the capabilities. They're just not quite there yet. Let me take a sip.
And that has been your sip.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Dickhead.
So, Commander Tom Jobab.
Jobab.
Jobab. Commander Tom Jobab. No. Commander Tom Jobob. That's going to be hard. Gets called into Houston.
And you only just started drinking.
It's a very rushed meeting. They call him in. They say, you have to see this. You have to hear this. They've received a message from outer space. You know, we have those satellites that are constantly searching for messages from deep space.
Right.
Well, they received a message from Commander Tom Jobob. Commander Tom Jobob sends a message that is a very hopeful message, saying, we're here, the mission's a success, we made it, this is, a chance at starting over. And they're like, well, how is this possible? How did you send this message? And so what they do is they trace the communication back. And it goes back to a place that it's roughly like 6,000 light years away. And they're like, well, how is this possible? How did you send us this message from this far away and you're here? Well, then say like, we'll say Steven. Steven is the physics guy over at NASA. And Steven walks in, and he starts talking about block universe. And that essentially this place that we've received this message from is the past Earth. We can see it now because we've observed it by receiving a message from it and tracing the communication back. So we have a past Earth. Stick with me here. The narrative is what's important here.
The story.
Okay.
We have a past Earth out there that we can locate. They guess that it must be Earth roughly 6,000 years ago. This is what they're thinking because the message came from a place 6,000 light years away. Well, communications travel at the speed of light, so it would have taken 6,000 years to get to them. Got me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where this is going.
They were able to receive the message because the person there knew where to send it. And the person who sent the message, the person who sent the message knew where to send it because they just came from present Earth. You got it? I know it gets a little convoluted here.
Just a little.
It's the narrative that's important. It's a little vision of our future, hence the name of the episode. But they see this as a sign that, well, obviously we did send you somewhere. We sent you here. The mission was a success because we've received your communication that you went there. And they know that it's inevitable. They have to do this mission. So they gather up. It's a huge global effort. Just brings everybody together, and it's a great thing. New space race, but everybody's working together.
Mm-hmm.
And they gather up people from all across the world, all of these experts in all these fields, and they include people like experts on ancient civilizations because they know where they're going. So they get this mission together and they send them off. And the whole world celebrates. It's a really big deal. And as soon as they take off, they receive another message. And it's another message saying,
we fucked up. We're sorry.
Things are going great here. It is everything we thought it was. Start sending everybody. Everyone you can. Try to depopulate present Earth and start over on past Earth. So, what happened was, they knew it took them 5 years to get that mission prepped and sent. So they land in past Earth. And they send the message that they had originally received because they know they have to send it, because if they hadn't sent it, they never would have gone on the mission. So they send that, and then they think, well, how long? It was 5 years. So let's settle in here, wait 5 years, and then we'll send that message so that they'll receive it quickly, right when we launch, and they'll know, start working on sending people. So they do that, the message is received. What happens is every major country on this planet, every superpower, the global effort is over. They see this chance at a new beginning, and they see a chance for a power grab.
Oil?
Land,
oil
resources, you completely restart, claim new territory.
Oil.
So it becomes like an imperialistic space race among the superpowers of the world. Rather than working together, everyone is trying to send their group there first.
Mm.
What happens?
Space fighters.
Is the fighting over all of this gets bad because multiple countries send their first missions. Then they start receiving messages from their respective countries that so-and-so, this other country, they brought weapons. And there's sort of a little arms race going on past Earth. People are trying to get weapons there as quick as they can to take as much land as they can. So knowing that in present Earth, they start a war on present Earth. So past Earth uses what weapons it has, and it kind of runs its course. Present Earth completely annihilates themselves. So nothing else gets sent back to past Earth, and they don't know why no one else has been coming. They're not receiving these huge shuttles of people, sent back to past Earth. So what do? They're on past Earth, and there's a limited number of them, and they haven't heard back from future Earth in a long time. They have experts on all kinds of things with them, engineering, ancient cultures. They have all kinds of tools, things they would need to set up modern civilization in the past.
Okay.
But it's limited because they only got a few missions back there. So what do if someone, say, drops you in China and you don't speak Chinese? Do you go around and teach every person you meet Chinese? No. You learn the language and assimilate in order to get through life. Or to get home. Whatever. But, so essentially these people are left behind on past Earth. And they have no choice but to just integrate into the ancient civilizations. Well, the ancient civilizations see these people that came from the sky and have all of these crazy things. Say the first mission sent from the U.S. was an Apollo mission, labeled Apollo. Well, there you go. You got your Greek god, Apollo. These people come from space, but they just assimilate in. So we don't see records of their language or anything, but we see the progress they left behind, the technology. Because what happens is they assimilate in, say they're in ancient Egypt. And they're in a pretty good position, maybe an advisor to a pharaoh, because they are maybe a god to these people. They've come from the future.
Is this is this one giant your own grandpa joke?
No. It's not a joke. This is very dark and serious.
I'm sorry. I can't help but think that all the ancient myths about Zeus just came out of nowhere and screwed that lady. He didn't have lightning. He just had a gun. The whole time. Lightning bolts, because there was no other way to describe it. No, he just had a gun. And he said, come on.
So anyway, say they're in ancient Egypt. And they're in some, position. And they come to them and they say, we want to build these pyramids. This is what we're thinking. And the person's like, oh, I know how they did this. Here, let me show you.
Here's a more efficient way of doing this.
No, they show them exactly how the pyramids were built. And they help them do it. And the same thing goes. And so what they do is they end up putting in place everything that was already in the past. And thus restarting everything that led to where they are now. So essentially all of humanity is trapped in a time loop.
Everything is cyclical.
Where the whole world ends and a few people make it back to the past in the ancient civilization and restart it. But because of their knowledge of the past, they restart the past in exactly the same way that it played out before.
Never advancing.
Because it already exists. It's all predetermined. They couldn't have changed it. It just happened that way. And so maybe...
Do you realize what you created here?
Maybe ancient aliens are future us. And past us.
What you've created here is a Bootstrap Paradox, where how does the first iteration of the loop get started? Because without someone going back in time, there is nobody to teach the ancient cultures the things that they eventually go back and teach them. So,
who says there has to be a start? Maybe it's an infinite time loop that is just a set of events just plopped down in the universe, predetermined and preset. If the past doesn't affect the future because it all exists simultaneously, why would there have to be someone that started it?
So you're saying it's like Peter Parker always gets bitten by the spider.
Yes.
It's, no matter how many times they reboot it, retcon it, it's going to happen the same way every time.
So you're saying history is a straight line going and going and going, and then all of a sudden we hit that nuclear age and it just goes and lands 2,000
so originally
years ago.
I wanted to call this Doomsday Time Loop.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's basically...
back at, let's say, 5,000 years ago. Let's say Babylonia was like the earliest.
Mesopotamians, maybe.
Yeah. And then they hit there, and then it all goes forward from there.
Yeah.
That's why we had the floating gardens.
So, if you think about it, at its core, nothing we do matters because everything is predetermined, and everything that we're going to do is already being done. So nothing means anything.
So Atlantis is one of their flagships that touched down in water and eventually sunk.
Yes.
They ran out of power and just sank down into the ocean.
They got a DreamWorks movie.
It's pretty good, too.
Didn't you see Atlantis? DreamWorks?
I saw Disney Atlantis.
That was Disney?
Yeah.
Well, they did it in the style of old DreamWorks. Like Prince of Egypt days.
Okay, first of all,
that movie came out.
That was
Here goes the rails.
Katzenberg left Disney and was making movies in the Disney style to rip off Disney. So that's how
Because
Prince of
he hated
Egypt and all that.
Disney.
Yeah, he hated
Because
Disney.
he didn't get... What was it he got pissed about? He didn't get the head job. So he went, fuck you, and left.
Something along those lines. But that's... So, it's not that Atlantis is like Prince of Egypt. It's like Prince of Egypt is like Atlantis.
Oh. Well, so... But really, what I created is not a Peter Parker Spider-Bite thing. It's a really good TV series. Or a book.
Actually, it already is a TV series.
I'm going to say
It is?
Yes.
What?
I can't remember the name of it. It only got one season before it got canceled, where they send everyone back to the time of the dinosaurs. I'm not kidding. Like they build like this like base and everything in the past.
I'm not talking just about the idea of past time travel. I'm talking about my whole narrative about Commander Tom Jim Bob.
But it is
Tom Jim Bob, man.
Your narrative is the narrative of this show. The
What's
Earth,
it called?
I don't remember.
Land of the Lost?
No, they like I said, it only got one season, got canceled. But the Earth was about to be destroyed, and they decide, okay, we know Earth is clean at this point, so they travel back in time to when there's dinosaurs, and they start recolonizing them. And there are people with nefarious means that bring back guns, bring back all this stuff.
That's a bad idea because dinosaurs. They were messing with fire.
Yeah, but the guy
they shouldn't have gone back that far.
The guy that was leading the colony had a very sweet desk made out of a T-Rex skull. So that's all I'm saying.
The main fun of the idea is what if in the future somebody receives a message from themselves in the future, but it's actually a message from the past.
It sounds like reverse.
That's the fun of it.
This
I was
sounds
like, hey, wait a minute.
Have you ever seen or read the Stephen King? I don't know if it's a short. I don't think it's a novel. I think it's a short story. The Langoliers.
I don't read Stephen King.
You're a dickhead.
He's ugly.
Yeah. So read one of his anthology books.
I have a hard time reading any book by anyone who just pumps out books. Like he's written like 160 books or something like that.
Yeah, some of them are bad.
And so I just imagine that it's like you just
Langoliers was a short story.
Hoping to find a needle in a haystack.
They got a movie. That was actually pretty good.
I did see the movie. It was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, giant meatballs that eat the past.
Yes.
But that's what I'm thinking with your stupid idea here.
Well,
not stupid. I don't mean
block universe right there.
Oh, it's I don't care.
The past and the present continue to exist.
Yes.
We just move through it.
Yeah.
Leaving an empty past for the Langoliers to eat.
Yeah.
So
you've seen the movie, so you know that everything in existence just gets eaten by the meatballs.
Correction. I saw the movie when I was like 8.
I saw the movie when I was 8. I can still remember because I had nightmares about the Langoliers.
Did you?
Yeah. Because if you ever look at their design, it's a reverse deep sea drill bit with all the teeth on the inside instead of the outside.
Okay.
And it just goes along the ground.
But we were looking at like what 1995 CGI.
Yeah.
So.
oh yeah. They don't even look like they're on the same screen as everything.
No, they don't. It's god awful. But I still had nightmares about them because I was a wee babby.
But Block Universe actually prevents that from happening because everything exists at the same time.
Yeah. Therefore you can't eat it.
And also your narrative would also say that can't happen because there'd be no past for them to travel back to if there's Langoliers eating it.
Well, no, if we have Langoliers. But we don't have Langoliers that we know of.
No, you're just living in a
that
past
we know of.
that is unconscious from the present.
But what matters is that you have taken your present consciousness and taken it to the past.
Yes.
But the problem...
I'm going to admit the whole time you were talking, you kept saying past Earth. I kept thinking you meant future Earth. Because they got the message from the future.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's a big loop. And if you fire a gun across a loop, you hit the other side. It doesn't matter where you're firing it from.
Yeah, but how do you fire a gun through time?
I'm sure there's
How do you send a message through time?
John,
well, because the space exists. If it exists with Eternalism, it must exist somewhere. We just don't know where. We can't observe it. It's hidden from us because we haven't observed it. But when we received the message and tracked it back, that was observation. So then that past took a place within our observable universe.
So you're saying that there's an Earth in the galaxy? No, don't. There is an Earth at the exact location, let's say 5 years ago, in the universe that is forever expanding. We just can't see it. Mm-hmm. That the Milky Way galaxy 5 years ago, however many trillions of miles it was further back, there is another Milky Way galaxy with an Earth in that exact location doing exactly what I was doing 5 years ago.
Yes. but we can't see it.
I can actually kind of understand that.
That is actually the theory.
Okay, that's why things aren't overlapping, is because
yes.
we're on a spiral galaxy that's moving through space.
And just whipping it out.
Yeah.
And we can't observe anything but the present.
If you went back in time 6,000 years, we would not be in the same X, Y, and Z coordinates
in the universe.
In the universe at all, because we're always moving through the universe.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. So basically what you're describing is like the idea that we are, like, we're a three-dimensional beings. We understand and move in 3 dimensions. And the 4th dimension, time, happens to us. We are not aware of it. Right? We're moving forward through time, but we don't feel that or experience that. That's the idea dimension outside of our perception.
The idea is that our perception is the only thing moving through time.
So you're saying that the 4th and 3rd dimension...
Time is moving through us.
So it's just hooking on and taking us to the next
It's not
stop.
taking us anywhere. We are constant. Present consciousness. Time is moving through us.
So if... Okay, so... Fuck. All right. Let me collect my
Exactly,
thoughts.
that sums it up.
Let me collect...
That's our first broken Brian of the podcast.
Yes. Okay.
Actually, I think it's a third.
Half of that was because I had a stroke because I couldn't remember influential as a word. So shut up.
That's all right.
But okay, so time is moving through. So let's say my conduit, my body, time is flowing through it like a stream.
Mm-hmm.
When I die, that's time. No, shut up. You shut your mouth. You're saying time is a constant through us. It's taking our consciousness and... You're shaking your head. What am I missing? You're saying
consciousness is the constant.
So when I die...
Time travels through us.
Yes, I know.
You said time is the constant.
No, time is flowing through us. Like you're saying, our conscience is the constant. When my conscience dies, does that time just tail out, is what you're saying? And I am stuck at the moment I died.
Well, no, your consciousness is gone.
It's just gone.
The you exists as it does in the past. The past you exists unconsciously
so
because you're conscious
life
right now.
Is still living, but my consciousness is just
unconsciously.
gone.
Yes, your consciousness is with you right now.
Okay,
but when you die, you're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Consciousness.
My
is gone
consciousness
from
has
that.
run its estimated course, and it just went. I'm out of here.
So anyway, I'm not saying.
Have you seen the movie Donnie Darko?
No.
Yes.
Damn it.
I love that
He's
movie.
the one that needs it explained, though. And
He's dead the whole time. I know that.
No, that's a Sixth Sense. Spoilers.
Oh, is it?
In Donnie Darko.
I thought Donnie Darko was dead the whole time. I don't know. I've never seen it.
No.
Donnie Darko's it's a tough nut to crack.
But in the story of Donnie Darko, well, at least in the movie, I don't know anything else. But
is there anything else?
I don't know. I thought it was based on something.
I'm pretty sure it's just a movie, man.
Really? Someone was just like, yeah, I'll greenlight that.
It was the 80s. Or the early 90s. I don't remember.
It was the 90s.
Was it 90s? I thought it was early. I thought I was in high school, so it was like at least 2000 something.
I thought you were in high school in the 70s.
For our audio listeners, I just flipped him off. But in the movie, there's like this stream of time that you see coming out of their chest, and that's where they're going to go, because this guy's like able to see glimpses of the future, and he can see his own string through time extending out through him. So that's like what you were saying, where you're on a string in time.
No, I'm not saying it's a string that it is like an energy that's just flowing. That you are alive. When it stops flowing through you, you just cut off.
But what I'm saying is, you, without having seen the movie, you had inadvertently described Donnie Darko.
Holy shit! I am a goddamn soothsayer.
But basically, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I believe this. I just had the idea when I was watching Ancient Aliens at like 3 a.m, and I thought that's pretty cool. I also think that is more plausible than aliens came here thousands of years ago and built all of our civilization, put their DNA in us, and then left, never to return.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's a lot of holes. Like, how is a message all of a sudden going to go through time?
Of course there's a lot of holes. I had the thought at 3 a.m. and I did no research.
Well, okay. I'll give him that.
I'll give him that.
That is the
a
point
very
of the podcast.
plausible point.
I'm going to write my own Bible.
Oh, no.
The Bible. The great and mighty John.
But I mean,
we'll call it the Gospel of John. Oh,
never mind. The Gospel of Johnstown.
Johnstown. Yes. I've always thought it would be the coolest thing in the world to be a cult leader.
You're attempting it with this first episode.
Well, as Creed said from The Office,
I don't watch The Office.
He said, "I have been in many cults as a leader and as a follower.
I've seen that.
Make a lot more money as a leader, but have a lot more fun as a follower."
I know that only from the meme. I've never watched episodes of the show in full because I can't stand it. The type of comedy, I can laugh at certain parts, like Idris Elba's episode.
Oh, he was a nightmare on that show. I love that guy, but man, I love Idris Elba as an actor. But on The Office, I see his face and I just I get so mad because he was such a dick in that show.
Never seen it.
Yeah. We got pretty far from Ancient Aliens, but
yeah, for about 10 seconds though. We're coming back.
Yeah, like I said, it was about Ancient Aliens, sort of. It's about we're missing a strange theory I had.
A key part of this, I thought of it at 3 a.m. after watching Ancient Aliens, and drinking heavily should have been at the end of that sentence.
I don't remember if I was drinking or not.
Which probably means you were drinking.
I told my grandpa this idea, and he said,
Oh, your grandpa? What'd your dad say?
I don't know. I don't talk to my dad.
Your dad would have looked at you and gone, "You fucking idiot."
It's an interesting narrative.
I've never heard my dad say the F word.
Try harder.
I genuinely haven't. I know he does. I've just never heard it.
I mean, I worked with him since 2009, and I haven't heard it, so...
Damn. My bosses throw it out like candy.
Well, you're blue collar.
You shut your
peasant.
I might not know how to code, but I know how to burn buildings down efficiently.
Anyway, you guys got a better idea.
It's just
give me 20 minutes and I could probably think of something.
You've had more than that.
I don't feel like there's any science whatsoever that supports this concept.
There is.
There is nothing to say we could travel back. We can travel forward in the block universe.
In block universe, you can travel back. Relativity does allow for past time travel. What you're talking about is a thought experiment. Theoretically, they think, well, we know that time is experienced differently in a vacuum. When you're traveling at a high rate of speed, you experience time at a different rate.
Well, that's not theoretical. That has been proven.
But that is not time travel. It's the perception of time travel.
Okay, true.
Actual time travel is theoretically allowed, past and future, with relativity. But none of this is set science. It's all theoretical. Most of quantum physics is entirely consistent of theories.
Isn't that why it's called theoretical physics?
Exactly.
Because might be true.
Obviously there's no hard science to back this claim, but there is a lot of theoretical science to back the claim.
I can't even
theoretical science will just stay forever theoretical.
I can't be upset because it's like, well, it could happen.
You've heard a lot of this stuff from me through the years.
Yeah, I have. So, but it's just another one of those. It could or it couldn't, and it's like it makes sense on a certain level that could happen. I don't think it would be. Well, your story was relative, so it could be 10,000 years in the future for all I fucking cared.
Do you or do you not agree that it's more plausible that we were in the past than a whole bunch of aliens?
With everything in this universe, I have to say no. Just for the simple fact that Earth is 4.4 billion, the galaxy is like 6 or something.
Not a clue.
No idea. Okay, so moving on with that ignorance.
But you can't get an accurate figure. It's growing.
No, you can't. But it's a forever growing universe. At some point we've been around for 10,000 years as a society of humans.
More than that, I think.
No, I'm talking like Homo sapiens have been around for 10,000 years. I think is like the oldest or something.
Actually, 6,000. Sorry.
Whatever.
6,000. Mesopotamia.
That's 6,000.
That's why I said 6,000 years in the narrative.
Yeah, that's 6,000 years we've been around. That leaves 4.3 4 fucking however many decimal points after of time. It's like, okay, what if there was a civilization?
We don't really have a concrete way of knowing how far time goes back.
We don't. I understand that. But if we take it by the measures we have, that is eons of other people doing other things in other places.
But we don't have any evidence that there were other people.
We don't.
We still don't have solid evidence of intelligent life on any other planets.
Some would argue we don't have intelligence life here.
Yeah.
Well,
we have...
Brian can attest.
You are being a real fuckhead today.
Well, you're the one that brought Cro-Magnon Man to the podcast here.
Hey. I take great offense to that.
To be honest, I think I'm the caveman here because I was thinking about it earlier today. And
John, you have a family. I have.
So
nothing.
did cavemen.
I am the Neanderthal.
I think that I have this weird thing, and it just comes off as caveman to me.
Another one?
I'm never going to listen to an episode of this.
Okay.
Ever.
Good for you.
Because there's something primal
you
in
hate
me.
You hate hearing your own voice, don't you?
Yes. There's something in me that I get weirded out when I hear my own voice recorded. And I don't like it.
It's because it sounds different what you hear, isn't it?
Yes.
So basically what I'm finding out while recording the first episode is you won't edit because you don't want to hear your own voice. You won't edit because you don't know how to use a computer.
I don't own a computer.
I am stuck editing all of the podcast episodes. Thank you.
You volunteered ahead of time.
I will buy a laptop if I can help, but I don't know how to edit or do other shit.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. Tune in next week. Jason's going to be bringing up something.
I think that was a 45 minutes. You got time to go.
We still have time.
What time is it?
It's only been 36 minutes.
That's fine.
Stupid broad.
We said 45 to an hour.
I mean, let's keep going. Leave all that in there.
Okay, so this
is our first episode, people.
We don't know what we're doing. But no, here's where
I don't know what time we started. I can look at my watch,
John,
and I have looked at my watch multiple times, but I have no frame of reference for when we actually started.
Okay.
It was like 4:45.
So here's another hole I have with your theory. Why have we found no remains of our first when we returned 6,000 years ago?
What do you mean?
Where's the ships?
A vessel of some sort? Weapons of some sort?
I got a real clear answer for you on that. They don't build them like they used to.
But you're talking about...
They've deteriorated.
You're telling me a vessel that could travel through time.
Through space.
Time and space. That, survived all those rigors of, interstellar travel. Passed through who knows how many solar winds and survived it.
Redacted.
That's got to be cut.
That's got to be cut, Brian.
Sorry.
Solar winds?
That passed through solar winds and survived all this travel through space. Couldn't survive sitting in our own atmosphere.
I would honestly say no.
Yeah, given what we build things out of these days, it will deteriorate.
No. Not even that. 6,000 years between when we arrived and when we could actually rediscover and understand what we're looking at. A space shuttle, yes, it would come through an atmosphere, no problem. I have seen pictures of 30 years out aircraft that have been sitting in a mothball yard for years. They're falling apart. Mm-hmm. There's a reason every mothball, but if what he's saying when he first started was if we came down in China, I think there would be no metal of any part of that space shuttle left.
Think about this. What if the reason our end is near in that future is environmental reasons? So, not wanting to start the problem over again in the past, we created a space shuttle out of entirely biodegradable materials.
I hate you. That's not even remotely possible.
Yes, it is. We don't know what future us can do.
We don't. But if it's plasteel or some kind of plastic or metal or whatever, I don't think...
Well, I mean, if you look at what we make them out of now, which is majority metal...
Yes.
It will deteriorate with time. The things we have left over from the past are generally made of stone. And they're large structures.
Large hot, dry, arid
something
areas.
that's going to carry 10 people. I mean, who knows? It could be at the bottom of the ocean. It could have been a water limit.
Inefficient. Who sends 10 people at a time?
Did you watch the Netflix series Away?
No.
Please do.
No.
It is awesome.
I don't listen to your recommendations.
No. Hilary Swank goes to Mars.
I don't know who Hilary Swank is.
Most people don't. But she's an actress. And she's good.
Really? I thought she was an actor.
But no, in Away, it's about the first manned mission to Mars.
Oh my god.
And it's actually, it's not so much a sci-fi show as it is a character drama. But it's so good because it's about the idea of what happens to a family when your mom goes to Mars.
I would assume Dad gets a new mom.
Well, Dad has a stroke or something similar to that in the show.
So,
Spoiler alert.
So maybe both your parents are dead.
Oh, by the time this comes out, that show... It'll be a month long. I mean, come on. Do Netflix shows really sit and... Do people are like, I might watch that in 6 months. No, you binge it or you don't. So sorry. Spoiler alert. The dad gets paralyzed.
Oh, Dad's paralyzed. He's not dead.
No, he gets paralyzed.
Neck down or waist down?
Waist down.
Yeah, he can live with that.
He can, but it's hard because he's raising a teenage daughter who's met a boy who's got her into dirt bike racing.
This sounds like a Disney movie. It's
Netflix. Trust me, it was really
I'm
good.
not going to watch it, John.
Because the important part
I'll
of
watch
it is
Fate again before I'll watch that.
The important part of it is the stories between the people on the ship. And I think that they did a really good job of it because they have, an international crew going to Mars. And every country had their conditions in participating. And China had the most conditions. Obviously. China insisted that their astronaut be the first to step out onto Mars. So everyone said, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. We're all sending someone to Mars. That astronaut they sent happened to be a woman. So they told her that when she takes her first picture on Mars next to the Chinese flag to keep her reflective visor down.
I think we're getting way off topic. We're just describing a television show.
Well, it was a really good depiction of China and their disrespect for women.
Okay,
That's not political. That's fact.
I'm just confused. Can we circle back around to your point about how Away was relevant?
Available in China? What?
Oh, you want it to not be available in China right now?
Chances are it won't be.
Okay, it's not going to be available in China in about 5 seconds. I recognize Taiwan as an independent country. There. Now we're not available in China.
Wait, is there argument on that? Does anyone
they call it the Chinese Taipan.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Because I bought some nail clippers at Dollar Hut when I was like 6, and they said made in Taiwan, and I said, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And my grandpa said, "That's a nice country."
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know why he knew that.
That's why they always get pissed.
Because he was World War II on the Western Front.
Well, Taiwan's been there since the Boxer Rebellion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he ever went to Taiwan, but somehow he knew to tell 6-year-old me that Taiwan was a nice place.
Well, 6-year-old you was, relatively recent compared to when Taiwan existed.
I don't know when Taiwan started, but 6-year-old me was not that recent.
Yeah, not that recent, but compared to when Taiwan came around, you're more recent than Taiwan.
I know this is off topic, but do you remember Dollar Hut?
No.
They sold... Okay, so it was a dollar store. There was a chain of dollar stores.
Just better circle around to your point about your stupid ass block, Infinity, whatever the fuck.
It sort of does, because Dollar Hut... No, stick with me. Dollar Hut is probably the reason that I'm interested in these kinds of things.
Bullshit.
No, listen. Dollar Hut was a dollar store. I don't know how big the chain was, but we had them in central Indiana. And
way to put a location beacon on us.
That's fine. Central Indiana. We are in central Indiana.
John, the Chinese are going to come for us
dox
now.
us in any way. There's over 1 million people in central Indiana. So anyway,
redacted.
They sold.
Should we just start over at this point?
No, we'll just cut that. Anyway, Dollar Hut, it was the coolest dollar store because they sold those little kid prank toys, $1 a piece. The fake cigarettes, the fake poop, and those were hard to find when I was a kid. That was the only place that sold them. And I get all kinds of these fun little things. But they also sold some books. And most of the books they sold were either about Norse mythology or cryptids or something like that. And they were $1.
The little, like, 7-page
So my parents would get me those because they knew I was into Bigfoot and stuff. And so I read all of those. And that's actually, thanks to Dollar Hut, why I'm interested in all this stuff in the first place.
Okay.
It started when I was a kid going to Dollar Hut, picking up a book.
I understand why you're so the way you are now.
Yeah. I am who I am. Dollar Hut is my identity. I am a dollar store person.
So what you're saying is, by your logic of the universe, if Dollar Hut never existed, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. Actually, you probably still would.
No,
be.
probably not. Because yes, well, if time is all predetermined, then I would be. But Dollar Hut exists.
What was determined would be different based
if
on
Dollar
the
Hut didn't
conditions.
exist.
Right.
So if Dollar Hut didn't exist, chances are, no. If I didn't get into weird stuff, I wouldn't have ever been distracted in school. I'd be a doctor right now if it wasn't for Dollar Hut. So thank you, Dollar Hut.
You'd probably be a lawyer.
I'd probably be a lawyer or a
of your
doctor or something.
family.
I was very...
Dr. John.
There's a connection between my Dollar Hut books about weird stuff and my decline in caring about school.
And your ability to hunt ghosts in a graveyard and mess with people.
I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for Dollar Hut.
Probably not.
That was terrifying, though, and I really want to record an episode in there, but it's now private property. But that cemetery is so terrifying.
Property?
Did you go there ever with us? That place is genuinely terrifying.
That's before you and I became friends.
Yeah.
Even though we knew each other for
before
10
Jason
years
was even on my radar.
He was around. He just wasn't on it.
Well, since all time exists at the same time,
you were
I
always
was
there.
somewhere.
You were always on the radar at that point. It's just you were just a little outside the edge of the radar.
I remember before I knew you, Jason, I thought, I think I'm going to get along with Jason pretty well. And I was told, I don't know about that. Jason's a pretty big nerd. And I thought, you really don't know me, do you?
Well, Father, I have news for you.
My dad doesn't know anything about me.
I don't know if that's sad or not.
He can't believe I don't care about football.
I mean, I watched... Well, you used to give me shit because I cared about NASCAR.
I will continue. I went to the Brickyard 400 with you, and it was the most boring thing. Being together was nice, and
because we drank
drinking some Guinness and all that, but that was the most boring thing.
Yeah, we watched the Mega Vision, and I'm like, oh, God. And you just sat there looking at me like, what is wrong with you?
That was, wasn't that the ISIS year? That was the year we went to the Brickyard. Was
God,
the
year rails have been just completely discarded.
No, it was the year of, I think, the Boston bombing. And
that was in 2010.
Was it?
I don't know. I'm pulling that out.
When was the Boston bombing?
You have a cell phone in front of you.
Yeah, but Face ID is not working right now. It doesn't recognize me when I've been drinking.
You've had a beer.
I've had 2.
I've had 5.
But they're delicious. So they went down fast.
Oh, it's 2013.
2013.
We weren't even working together then.
Yes, we were.
No, we weren't. I know exactly where I was.
What some major event had happened.
The Boston bombing?
No, some major event had happened the year that we went to the Brickyard. And it had put people on edge. They had increased security at the Brickyard.
Yeah, because I remember they gave a shit for it.
No, whatever had happened had ties to ISIS, and it was something that had happened here. Or there was some kind of threat or something. But they had increased security at the Brickyard, and everybody was afraid that something might happen there because it's one of the biggest events in the country.
I remember that, but I think
I vaguely remember that. But
I didn't go.
I don't remember why, but for some reason there was that year there was some kind of threat that people were afraid of.
Because it's 2020 now.
Well, when we loop back around, we'll figure it out.
Right? But we won't.
We'll just wait.
I wonder where our present consciousness falls. Oh, at birth.
Probably.
We would enter the cycle again at our birth.
And then live our 80 to 40 or 60 years.
Where does that put in the idea of reincarnation?
I'm only going to get 50.
Is that technically a reincarnation if it's a time loop?
I would go with no, because you're living...
You've created a bootstrap paradox, and none of this is possible.
It's plausible.
It's not reincarnation because you're just backing up to go forward. You're always running into the same group of people over and over and over again.
Well, what about deja vu? What if that's it?
maybe that
it's
could
glimpses
be it.
of our future in the past. What if the consciousness is constant,
Has
even
relived it
through the
over
time loop?
And
And there's some kind of a packet loss
I'll give
that
you
happens when entering a baby brain.
Or
And that's why we have deja vu. It's a glimpse of the future, but it's actually the past we've already experienced.
You know what?
you're also ignoring entropy.
that.
What about it?
How much do you lose of the life you lived over
Because
time?
entropy says that a system is only going to become more disorganized over time.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't the time loop degrade each time it goes around?
Depends. What if the entire universe is encased in the time loop and entropy only exists within the time loop? So when we reboot, entropy starts over.
But we don't really reboot. We rejoin a time stream in progress.
But the other one ends.
Okay.
No,
The beginning
no
of the
humanity's
time...
interaction with the time loop ends. But time continues on even though humanity's not there.
What if it doesn't? What if the universe is a block that has an endpoint? The entire universe ends. And we kick back into another spot where entropy is at a different state. Because if time is constant, the state of entropy... Like, okay, so if this is a constantly existing time loop, if past, present, and future exist, the level of entropy will be constant along those points. So entropy right now, the state of the entire universe right now, is not the same as it will be in the future. But if you step outside the time loop and look at it, entropy follows the same path as our time loop. So if we step back, we're in a different state of the universe with different levels of entropy.
Yeah, but so the ship, the metals, the people, they are the result of a higher level of entropy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that higher level of entropy back with
We're
the
not
ship.
carrying entropy with us.
But the state
Entropy is a
of what a
universal
human
state.
being is and what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because they talk about, race will eventually be, bred out.
Yes.
Because,
Not
What-
surprised that Jason brings up eugenics.
I'm not talking I'm just
kidding.
saying, if we're
I'm
talking
kidding.
about time on such a large scale that eventually everyone's going to get it on with everyone else at some point.
Yeah, eventually they
And-
show the models of the future person, and it's like some light shade of brown, and everybody has like blue eyes or brown eyes or something. And
All the recessive traits have been bred out.
Yeah.
It's all, So that level of genetic entropy is now being taken back to the past, and you're talking about reintegrating into...
And there's something in ancient...
And each time, we're going to be adding that higher level entropy into the existing timeline.
Not
and bringing
entropy,
it
just
forward.
the DNA. And it only happens once, because the time loop is one time loop.
So,
And there's a lot of stuff within the Ancient Aliens ethos that says that somebody messed with our DNA in the past. Whether it was alien engineering,
Okay.
or it was just bred in.
So I got one question.
Something eliminated the, what do they call the cavemen? Neanderthals.
That was
Originally they thought the Neanderthals went extinct.
Yeah.
But then there was a National Geographic article in about 2012 or 2013 about
the
Neanderthal bloodline.
genes.
Yes, and
in
it's actually that the Neanderthal did not get wiped out. It just bred in with Homo sapien. And so various peoples around the world have different levels of Neanderthal in them. And it's based on location. No, it's actually, I believe it was Eastern Asia that had the highest
Mongols.
level of Neanderthal DNA. But I can't remember for sure. It was either they had the most or the least. But the Homo sapien came from Africa.
Yeah.
The Neanderthal, I can't remember where they came from originally. But essentially they just intermingled and the Neanderthal was bred out because the Homo sapien was a superior species. And that's why we today are Homo sapiens and not Neanderthals.
So
We don't have those traits.
Okay, I don't think you're getting kind of what I'm putting down here is, all right, they go back in time and they, reintroduce their DNA into humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's, it's now, gene pool is now 5% future DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets carried forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back in time. So you have like an additional 5% at the end that you didn't have at the beginning that you now carry back.
Well, no, because
and you're putting more...
Human DNA doesn't work that way. A human is a human. It's just
human
who
is,
the person
as we
is
understand it
depends
right now.
on the coding, the sequencing of their genome.
Right. But if it technically future changes for the genome are bred into the past,
yes,
they'll be carried forward, and if we change even more, right? The genome will continue to evolve and change.
But it really hasn't. I mean, traits have become more or less prominent among different people around the world. Some families are taller than other families. But as far as the genome itself goes, the human genome, they've mapped it out. It is a set thing.
They mapped it out this loop.
It's all the same loop.
What I'm saying is, okay, so they brought these changes back, and then those changes get carried all the way back.
They're not changes. They're just human DNA.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you a question. You shut up. The way you're describing this has two ways of me looking at it.
Okay.
That is making me confused with both of your statements.
Forwards and backwards.
No. So, all right, follow my fingers. I'm going to just try to put this. So we have timeline as a straight line, and then we hit that loop where humanity fucks itself over. Mm-hmm. And then we're 6,000 years ago in a big circle. Mm-hmm. So we've done that for the first time. Mm-hmm. We put in everything that's going to happen. That's the first loop. From that point on, we hit that loop, and we're corkscrewing now. We're not hitting the exact same spot anymore.
No, we are, because all past, present, and future exist simultaneously.
But, with what you're saying, you come back. If you were to hit that same spot, there should be another ship sitting there.
You will hit that same spot because you already did. But it won't sit there because you haven't been there yet. You are that ship.
So there will not just be a stack of ships sitting in a pancake.
No.
I'm imagining... Because
you're imagining us...
John, shut up.
Okay.
I'm going to keep explaining this to the best of my fucking ability. So, if this is just a big loop, that ship at the 6,000 year mark where we return to, we hit it once, ship's there, progress through time, hit that mark again, come back, there should be either a ship or remains of something sitting there.
No? Because it's all one timeline.
No, he's not wrong. Because in our history, like we're talking about ancient aliens, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking in our history that happened.
Yes.
So if they're going back to some history that's already happened.
They're making it happen.
But it has already happened once before they made it happen. So every time after that is a replaying.
Every time they made it happen, though. That's the key there.
No, they didn't.
They did. Because it's the same person every time.
The first group made it happen.
It's the same group.
Yes, I understand that. Actually, I don't.
It's the same group of people. It is the same timeline.
God damn it. Okay, my brain.
So, think about it this way. They don't even go because they've already received the message. But the message isn't there unless they go. They send the message.
Right.
That would be a corkscrew in time, then.
They exist in a timeline where they have already gone back.
Yes.
So
meaning there should already be a ship there.
Not until they put it there.
But then they put it there, and then it progresses, and then they put it there again.
Maybe it only happens once. I see what you're getting at.
No, you see what I'm saying with the timeline is a straight line, then they loop, they hit the timeline again, but then it kind of goes next to it like a corkscrew, and then it comes back, hits it again on that same spot, but in a different timeline. Because
I'm still going to write the book.
I know you're still going to write your stupid book in how you want to do this. But I'm just saying, if that's the way, if time is ever present through the consciousness and all your bullshit, there should be a stack of infinite ships just crunching down on top of each other. Maybe. And I'll give it to you that they could deteriorate in that time. Actually, no, they wouldn't. They'd just be sitting on top of each other at that point in time when they arrived. So unless they spread it out over whenever long, maybe they wouldn't do that.
We could fix it with multiverse.
But multiverse wasn't part of your initial...
No.
I want to say theory, but I think that's the wrong word. Your assumption.
Initial bullshit.
Shower thought?
Shower thought, yes.
In a way.
Let's go with that. Let's go with shower thought, shall we?
I did not go into this podcast expecting to agree with Brian on anything.
Thank you.
Let me just say that first of all. Because his argument with the ships is the same argument I have with the DNA.
No, your
Yes,
DNA argument is inherently flawed. Brian has a much better argument than you.
No, the changes will be... they'll stack, like his ships. The changes will stack over time. And,
That reminds me of what I was thinking of earlier about your whole DNA theory, is I would think, given the way things are, the state of things right now, that in the future, there would be an ethical dilemma as far as breeding in to the past society.
Fuck no, there wouldn't.
So there is a
Not at all.
good chance
Bull
that these future
shit.
astronauts
There would be.
stayed celibate.
No, that is a fucking fallacy of the highest degree.
Why?
Because, okay, let's go back in time to every conquered civilization in existence.
But what do we do currently?
Anybody. Currently? Bullshit.
Currently, we
Give it a
preserve
year.
ancient civilizations. We leave untouched cultures alone.
Yeah.
It's ethical. So technically, ethics will have advanced,
John?
too. So it would be
You need to shut your...
Then
considered
you just
morally.
invalidated your entire point. If there's such an ethical civilization in the future,
Why did we
start
touch
a
it?
war?
Well, because that stuff in humans doesn't die.
Okay.
Greed, power, that is constant.
Okay, so let's go back to that. The basest parts of a human are there. Do you think Joe Bob, who's been
Tom
celibate
Joe
for...
Bob is a good man.
No, not Tom.
Do not disparage
I'm
his
talking
name.
about his cousin,
His
Billy
cousin
Joe.
didn't go.
You don't know that.
I
Fuck
know
you if you
that.
don't.
I wrote the story.
Billy Joe Bob goes back on like the 4th shuttle, and they land in who the hell knows Eastern Europe in medieval times. He's got a gun. He's the most powerful ruler around because he can just go, and they die.
It has to be further back. And the first mission.
There were people in Europe a long time ago, John.
Well, I know, but it wouldn't have been. You said medieval times.
Whatever.
It would have been.
You know
far
what I
before
meant.
that.
Who cares? Okay, he landed in China. Whatever. But he goes back. Let's say, all right, we took an oath to be celibate. That dude hasn't gotten laid in 2 years. And he looks over, and there's all the early
Well, technically
humans.
5. They said it took 5 to... you said 5 to travel. That's why they waited 5 years to send a message.
They crashed, or they landed, or whatever.
Well, no,
And he's
5
like,
to prep the mission. But it doesn't.
moving on. Human nature cannot be killed by saying we're better than this, because we know we're not. That dude would go over there with his gun, or you're saying they brought back guns. Sorry. If they brought guns, it's like, hey, we're getting laid today, and we're killing the local population to do it.
No. I think that human nature can be tamed because it has been. Because if human nature...
Really?
Are you about to lie to my face
listen.
as directly as you
a
want?
generality, human nature has been tamed. There are outliers. They're called criminals. Generally, if human nature could not be tamed, if we couldn't hold down those urges, we wouldn't have civilization. We'd just have people raping each other and killing each other with stones.
Okay, let's think about this way. Your count of 10 people going back, let's say it's, I'm going to be nice. Actually, I'm not going to be nice. I'm going to use the generalization that since we are Americans, Russians are the bad guys. Agreed? Let's say 10 Russian Spetsnaz agents go back to start controlling territory.
Mm-hmm.
You think they're going to care about the little village that's over there near their landing zone?
No, but what about in their thing of sending weapons back? They've created enough problems that they've destroyed the infrastructure that people were going to install to start a new civilization.
John, this is 6,000 years ago. There was no. This was hunter-gatherer.
No, I'm talking about the future people that came back.
They
brought things to prepare to make a modern civilization with the intention of everybody coming back.
Yeah.
But then fighting started on past Earth, destroying that infrastructure.
Okay, so let's look at this again.
Guns run out of bullets.
Guns run out of bullets, but I bet there's a lot less people than there are bullets.
But chances are they would have wasted their bullets trying to kill each other rather than try to kill ancient civilizations.
That's assuming they're near each other to start. Because of that ancient hunter-gatherer society that doesn't know what you are with all your fancy technology bullshit. Oh, we killed all the men. What do we do with the women? Oh, we got laid. That started that population.
That is a dark way to look at humanity.
That is a very dark way, but it's also a very logical and true way to look at humanity.
I mean, you're saying that we fixed all of human flaws except for war.
I don't think it can be.
And war, that's what you're saying is, if we can fix everything else, why can't we fix war?
Who said we fixed everything? The world is going to end in this scenario. All I said...
hate you so much
all I said was that because of that message of hope, there was a global effort.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that everything in the world was perfect.
They got to where the Garden of Eden is. Everything is great. Nothing is bad yet. Hey, what are we going to do? We're going to get laid by those people.
No.
We're going to kill the guys.
This is horrible, but I think that
it
wouldn't be seen that way. I think that people in modern times, if they were able to travel back, it would be like going to a museum or a zoo.
Hell,
and they wouldn't think,
no,
I'm going to have sex with that person. No, I don't think that would be...
Okay, so if they're going to think it's a museum or a
These are very highly trained astronauts. They're the best of the best.
They sent guns with them, which means they are not astronauts. They are fucking soldiers. You think a soldier has the restraint?
Is everybody with a gun a soldier?
If you're saying they went back in time to fight off other people, that probably does. Because an astronaut would look at that and go, ew, why?
Yeah, especially if they're going back and they're just going to observe.
Yes.
They wouldn't be in the historical record then. They would not be the ancient aliens because they're observing and trying to not interact.
Well, no, I'm not saying they're observing. I'm saying they're not breeding. You know what I mean? It's not like they're just stepping back and watching.
What you said,
no, they're assimilating. But they're not breeding.
You don't assimilate if you don't breed. All you do is come and watch the show.
Let's talk about this. The Nephilim.
The Nephilim? The angel?
No. The idea that angels came down and bred with humanity and the children that they bore were monsters.
Oh boy, everybody. Let's get ready for the religious part of this
DNA.
podcast.
What if the DNA that they inserted into ancient civilizations died off because it couldn't survive?
I hate you.
I mean, the ancient people would way outnumber the astronauts.
Right.
So there's no need to think that their DNA would completely cancel out that civilization. What if they did have children, but the DNA, the entropy, everything you were talking about, what if that created offspring that couldn't survive or couldn't reproduce? When you take two different species and you mix them, the offspring can't reproduce.
Like
so say our DNA is different than theirs, you can't. The children we produce couldn't reproduce. I win.
You don't win shit. You threw your ball at a different target and had
I win.
I feel sorry for anybody listening to this.
Nobody's going to listen to this. We're going to be lucky. And if this somehow blows up, we're going to be... wow, we're a bunch of smart people in a room recording on a Blue Yeti microphone.
Geniuses. That's why we're in a 9x10 room.
This is as big as my bedroom.
With the AC turned off.
I've been drinking enough that I can't even feel it.
True.
You always look like that.
I know. I have a pit
I'm
sweat
not
problem.
even sweating.
I don't know what it is. And my armpits are always cold.
Because of the beard.
And sweaty. Hey, I haven't seen the beard yet.
No,
I haven't seen you in months, yeah.
I don't grow beards. And I hate that.
I know. It's a genetic thing.
They'll drop someday.
I don't grow as good a beard as Jason, but I grow enough of one to call it.
Dude, your beard looks better than his.
Well, his
just
isn't
because
grown
it's
out.
fuller up here.
Jason can grow a Kratos beard.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Jason, when I first met Jason, he had a hell of a beard.
Damn it.
He's just been trimming his cheeks and stuff lately.
Damn you.
Well, also, I thought it'd be hilarious if, everyone's going to be coming back from quarantine with all this facial hair. If I came back with none,
he shaved completely.
The joke fell flat, and it was like, damn it, now I got to regrow it again.
You looked like Eggman. You really did.
That's just because I'm bald.
But yeah, I'm planning on growing like a nipple length beard.
So you're growing a Phil Harris beard?
I don't know who that is.
Duck Dynasty.
I've never seen it.
Dude,
I've regrettably seen it.
It's the dad who is probably the best person in that family, besides Miss Kay, who are the mother and father of all the kids.
I haven't watched it because, everybody either loves it or hates it.
I don't care for Psy. I don't care for the kids. I like I like
I
Phil.
don't know
like
anything
Miss K.
about any of the characters, but apparently they had messages in the show that people either very much agreed with or very much disagreed with. And I thought, well, it'd be fun to watch the show and take a side, but I don't care about the subject matter whatsoever. I do not care about duck calls.
In Louisiana?
I've never gone hunting.
To be fair, the duck calls are like 5% of that show.
Yeah, they're
see, I just don't care about the subject matter. I don't like shows that are about, look at the crazy stuff we do with all our money. You know, I don't like those shows, except for BattleBox.
Just because
that show was pretty cool.
Phil and Miss K, the way they
I don't remember
live,
what it was called, though.
BattleBots.
No, BattleBox. The people who make BattleBox have a TV show. Southern Survival, I think is what it's called. It's a company that makes a subscription box full of like survival gear and knives and stuff. And they bought this huge piece of land down in Georgia.
You are so trying to keep us on
I'm
track.
trying. I gotta try.
How much of this, if we're going to be cutting this down, how much is this episode actually going to be?
You're going to cut out all the
We're only going to cut off
We're
only going to cut off the horrible things that Brian said, and we'll leave the rest.
Keep the Taiwan part in that.
But, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfect.
My episode's going to get
okay. So, closing thoughts.
John?
Start with you. How confident do you feel about your idea? And,
I feel confident in its plausibility. I don't believe that it happened. But I
came up with the scenario, but damn, am I not standing by it. I also
don't believe that ancient aliens were ever here.
Okay.
I just think that my idea is more plausible than aliens.
All right.
You know, yes, aliens obviously do exist somewhere in the universe. I mean, it'd be crazy to think that they don't. But I think that as far as ancient alien interaction with humans, it's more likely that we time traveled.
Okay. Brian, closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts? I can see certain parts of it, and I think I've explained it, but I've also been mind raped to the point where it's like, cut it out. You're making the face. I get it. I said something offensive. But I can understand parts of it just because of the way I look at it and have my discrepancies to it and everything. That's me, though. So I will agree to disagree on parts, and I will agree to agree on parts. And we'll go our separate ways.
I don't believe in it anyway.
Yeah, that's because you're an asshole.
I just thought it was a cool idea.
I know. You're just a dick. That's it. You make up these outlandish scenarios, and it's like, you know what? Parts of that make sense to me. And I'm Brian. And that's all you need. Because I can fill in the rest on my own.
Like the one about how you become God.
Don't judge me.
Maybe a future episode.
Don't judge me on that. That might be a future episode, but that's a story that I read online.
No, I'm talking about my theory.
Oh.
Of how you become God.
I also have
put together a theory with theoretical quantum physics on how somebody could become the complete ruler of the universe.
Not even quantum physics in mind, but good to know that we have an agreement on a certain look at it. So, Jason?
All right. So, first off, I think it's a fun story. It'd make a great, like sci-fi show, like sci-fi channel movie, like Blumhouse, real cheap bullshit stuff.
Demand a big budget.
I felt the hurt in that.
But I just don't think the physics, the paradoxes involved, I don't think any of it works. Like I said, it's a fun story. It's entertaining to think about. But in general, no.
So do you think there were ancient aliens? Back to the subject of the episode.
You ass.
I think it's a possibility.
All right.
Because for life to have happened once, to say that they only happened once, seems a little too full of ourselves. That we're
only within our observable universe.
Right. And that could be why they haven't come back yet, is it just came from so far away, they haven't received the message back from their team or whatever. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm saying it's a lot easier to wrap your head around than like we're in a endless loop with no beginning
hope.
or end.
No hope.
I don't care
no
about hope.
choice.
Oh,
no free will.
That
You are
whatever.
in the
I don't care
simulation.
either way. That
The simulation is on a loop.
Nothing can be changed, which is actually comforting in a way.
No, it's not. That's
No,
horrifying.
think about it. The idea of not having free will is comforting.
oh,
You can't be blamed for anything you do or have ever done.
That's only once it's proved.
I do have one final thing I want to say.
Okay.
I want to print out a face and attach it to the microphone, so you stop looking me in the eyes while you explain this crazy crap.
It's a sign of respect.
It's
a
creepy
sign
as
of
hell.
I'll
is
look
what
you
it
in the
is.
eyes.
It's a sign of
I'll look you in the eyes and kiss you on your
he's
mouth.
fighting you for
Oh.
dominance.
That's right. I'm going to pee on the floor after this.
On that note, thank you for joining us for our first episode.
John's an asshat, if you haven't noticed.
Join us next week when I present something entirely different.
That has actual notes and maps and structure to the entirety of the podcast.
Jason does research.
Have fun, everybody.